There are two different types of interest rates that are talked about in the book this week: APR, the nominal interest rate, and EAR, effective interest rate. So, what they are and the difference is, well, first, in the textbook it says, to allow borrowers to compare interest rates between different lenders, the U.S. Truth in Lending Act requires what is known as the annual percentage, APR, to be displayed on all consumer loan documents. The annual percentage rate, APR, indicates the interest rate paid or earned in 1 year without compounding. We can calculate APR as the interest rate per period, multiplied by the number of periods during which compounding occurs during the year. So basically, this is like the annual amount of compounding or quarterly or things like that. But sometimes it's difficult to determine exactly how much you're paying or earning on a loan. That's because the loan might be quoted not as compounding annually, but like I said a minute ago, quarterly. And APR doesn't help much with rates being compared because they're compounded not for the same number of periods. In fact, the APR is called the nominal or quoted interest rate because it's the rate that lender states you are paying 3. In our example, the one it shows in the book, both 8.04 and 7.85 are the APRs, but they aren't comparable because the loans have different compounding periods. So, just because a loan says that it has a lower number, like 7.85, you would think that that loan is better, but it depends on when the loans compound, and that's why you also have EAR. So the EAR shows you exactly when the loans compound. So by doing, and to make the comparable, it says in the book, we calculate the equivalent rates using an annual compounding period. We do this by calculating the effective annual rate, the annual compounding rate that produces the same return as the nominal or stated rate. The ERA can be calculated, and it shows you the formula they can use to calculate it. So what they are is, one of them shows you when the loan will renew every year, like APR shows you yearly, and ERA shows you when it will compound. This is very important to know because if a financial document gives you an APR statement and they show you, oh, your interest will come about in this certain amount of time annually, and you get a different one that's compounded quarterly, you might think that the annual one is actually a better deal, when in reality, it's not. And banks and other financial organizations use this tactic. They present people with loans and things like this, and people will be more, they might not know the language of loans like that, and they might just take the lower interest rate one, let's say one that's at like 7.3 or something like that, but it doesn't compound as effectively as the other one does, that may be like 9% or something like that. Well, in reality, you're going to lose money, or you're going to end up paying more money because you don't know the language of loans. So that's why you always need to make sure that you know how to compare the APR and ERA to get the most effective loan possible, and to save yourself the most money by knowing the language of the loans and being able to calculate all this information.